Hello and welcome to the July 2023 edition of Photo Recap. Today we're talking about my 5 favorite photos that I took in July. All of these photos were taken on Kodak Ultramax with the Kodak EasyLoad KE60 point and shoot. So without further ado, let's get to it. Up first, we have a photo of an abandoned car. This is a photo that I took while me and my girlfriend Harley were visiting her grandparents. I've actually taken photos of this exact same car before. The one thing I love about this new photo though is the separation that the car offers of the two corners of the photo. The top left corner and the bottom right corner. On the top left portion of the frame we have this greenery that has this powerful stark green, and down on the bottom right we have this brown, mucky, muddy dirt. And in the center we have this broken down silver abandoned car with leaves and dirt smeared all over the hood, and the sunlight is hitting it from behind and illuminating it just perfectly. I have a video coming out soon about the reasons why we love decaying man-made structures, whether that be buildings or cars or statues or trains, whatever. There's a fascination with these things that I think is inherent in most photographers, and not just the ones who consider themselves to be urban exploration photographers. I've maintained in a lot of these photo recap videos that photography is mostly about triangles, and right off the bat I see a few in this photo that act sort of as complements to one another. I also want to say that while all of the photos that you're going to be seeing in this video were taken on this point and shoot right here, this photo probably is like the highest quality of all of them that I took. They're going to be all sort of varying quality, which is sort of interesting. It's got an all-glass lens that's going to offer a lot of different characteristics depending on the lighting conditions of the scene or how far away your subject is, and that's going to be evident in the photos that follow. The rest of the photos you're going to be seeing in this video were taken during my recent trip to London, and for more about my London trip you can watch a whole video about it right up here, and it's a fun watch. So up next we have a photo of a wine glass that's sitting outside of a restaurant. So I like this photo for a few reasons, not least of which is that I feel like it tells a bit of a story, or at the very least it implies a story. It should be obvious that I took the photo because of the way that the light was hitting the glass on this little doorstep, and because of the vibrant nature of the background. The bright yellow just really pops. But beyond that, I found myself wondering how this glass got there, why it was left behind, going back to abandoned things and photographers' fascinations with them. This is a prime example of that as well. I think when you roam around a city, especially a city that you've never been to before, you end up sort of picking up glimpses of things that don't look like they belong. And you start to learn to train your eye to find these things because they're usually hidden in plain sight, and people will walk right by them, not even give them a second thought. And as a photographer, I sometimes feel like it's my duty to give these things the second thought and to imbue them with some sort of meaning. And in terms of this empty wine glass with the straw in it on this doorstep, I don't know what other meaning I'm imbuing onto it other than what's the story here. Up next we have a photo of Westminster Station. Westminster Station. Westminster Station. God, that's hard to say. So here we have a photo of the Westminster Station sign. The composition of this photo is what draws me to it. There's this implied X that we can see here. We have the sign that is angled down toward the bottom right, and then behind it the buildings which are angled down to the bottom left. These things crisscross with each other, leaving an X marks the spot where the eye inevitably is drawn. Add on top of that these splashes of color that we have, like the blue sky peeking out behind the building, this stark brown building, and then we have this flag on the building and the bright red really popping. We have the blue and red underground sign that once again pops out, and we have the bold white Westminster Station lettering popping out from the black signage. I made sure to frame the flag in that little triangle below the sign and above the fence. Once again, triangles. Up next we have a photo of a London sidewalk. So here we have a photo of this building and this wall and this woman in the pink dress just walking along. I've expressed in some of my previous videos that I don't always feel comfortable taking photos of strangers. One, because it feels like an invasion of privacy, and two, because they could be unpredictable. But for this photo, I ended up taking a page out of Fan Ho's playbook, trying to utilize the person within the frame as a way of representing scale and sort of humanizing the image. This is an example, and I don't have many of these, of a photo in which the addition of a person actually elevates the photo, in my opinion. And I find that every time I look at it, my eyes are instantly drawn to the woman in the pink dress. It's partly because of the frame within the frame of those lines in the wall behind her, placing her right in the center, but also because of the L shape of the composition of the whole ends up just leading your eye right down to her. Up next, we have some flowers in a windowsill. I included this photo on the list for one reason mainly, and that is because it sort of embodies the way in which I view color photography, or rather the way in which I believe color photography should be utilized, and that is for the color to have a purpose, or for the color to stand out. When I'm shooting color film, I truly look for splashes and pops of color. Color that is surrounded by drudgery, or by dullness, or by just muted tones. And on a symbolic level, it's almost like you're extracting the wonder from the otherwise lifeless existence of the frame. In this photo, we have a very plain composition. Center frame, flat with the building, and a little bit of context in the top right corner telling us where we are. But you have to struggle to look at it because your eye is so desperately wants to be drawn down to these pink flowers in the windowsill. I think when reflecting on a photo, sometimes you wonder what drew me, what compelled me to take this photo, and other times it's incredibly obvious. What drew me to this photo is fairly obvious, and those are the color photos that interest me most. Those are the ones that I find myself taking. Those are the ones that I find myself liking the most, are the ones where the color is the emphasis of the photo, and it really stands out and it really pops. Like, take a look at all 5 of these photos. The color is really what captures my attention first and foremost, and then it's usually the composition and other sort of symbolic or metaphorical aspects of them. Because to me, a lot of these images sort of reflect a heightened reality, a heightened aspect of reality. Some people prefer to shoot more true to life photography, and they prefer for the world and in their photos to resemble the world in which they saw it. But in my mind, I feel like I'm trying to, like, how do I want to put this? There was this recent Pete Holmes quote about how he talked about how artists are like the more sensitive members of the group that are trying to express their worldview to the rest of the group, essentially, something like that. And I would say that in terms of the color photography that I find myself being drawn to, it is the stuff that really pops, and it's the things that really make me want to pay attention, and vibrant colors are something that just make me want to pay attention. And when I see these photos, my eyes are immediately drawn to them. If I saw them in a lineup full of 20 other photos, like, these are the ones that would stick out to me. But yeah, that's all I got for this edition of Photo Recap. A bit of a shorter one than usual. I got some videos down the pipeline that I'm working on. Thank you to everyone who has been watching the channel, who's been subscribed, who's been commenting and liking the videos. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos are released. And I'm going to leave this video off with some other photos that I took in July. A lot of them will be familiar if you've already seen the London video, but that's where a majority of my photos came from this month anyway, so let's take a look at that. I'll see you guys next time.